Hello, everybody. It's Argent here, and I'm here with my frequent co-host, Serp Kerp, formerly known as Nazbol Gang. And
Hey
yeah,
everybody.
hope everybody's having a lovely Tuesday. So we're just going to talk a bit about the election. Now, before we get into that, I just wanted to take a peek at the poll I did. So I did a poll on my community wall as to who people thought the Democratic nominee would be. So a majority of people picked Joe Biden with 52%, followed by Bernie Sanders, Kamala Harris, and Elizabeth Warren. And not many people thought it was anybody else. So,
Okay, so I essentially have the opposite opinion.
oh, yeah.
I think that Joe Biden is the Rudy Giuliani of the Democratic Party in 2020. That he has a huge amount of name recognition, but as soon as he goes to the debates, he's going to pop like a balloon, and he's going to be replaced by somebody else.
Because he's really stupid?
Because he's really old.
He's also really stupid.
Well, that's also a function of him being old.
Yeah.
I think he's probably smarter than like Cory Booker and Elizabeth Warren. I think Pete Buttjuice and Yang are probably the smartest ones that will be on the stage. But
yeah, Yang's just a weirdo. He's probably a pretty smart guy.
Well, if you've seen him talk, it's apparent that he's smarter than. If you've seen Pete Buttjuice talk, it's also apparent he's pretty smart too.
So he's like completely. I think I was watching, strangely enough, an E. Michael Jones stream, and he was talking
I read E. Michael Jones's book, and I reviewed it on my channel about Pete Buttjuice.
Yeah. So everybody, go check out Serp's channel if you haven't already. Great content. Great content. I hope you managed to survive the purge.
On my main channel, because I separated the old Nazbol flag videos, because I thought that the purge was going to happen when the shooting happened in New Zealand, I actually pre-changed the that's why I renamed myself and everything. Part of the reason I said that in that update video. My main channel has not been touched. The archive channel had one video taken down. I had a meme channel that had Serp Kerp before, which I talked to you on this channel with before a long time ago, years ago. That channel had about 60 or 70 subs, and it got annihilated.
Someone's just asking about your profile pic.
Oh, Bobby Fischer?
Yeah.
Yeah, Bobby Fischer is a hero. He's the pinnacle of what human beings should aim to be.
Wasn't he super based?
Bobby Fischer was an anti-Semitic chess champion, bodybuilder, rice farmer.
So basically the Supreme Nazbol.
Yes.
Anyways, okay, sorry.
Apparently, like, at one point he joined, like, some radical Protestant cult, and then he died Catholic and had a Catholic funeral.
So, before we get into it, Scudum points out that Bobby Fischer was also Jewish.
Yeah, well, it takes one to know one. I mean, look at what he said about the Jewish people from his own senses of them.
Anyways,
he was part of the hive mind, and he rejected it.
Anyways, I don't want to get too much on this just because it's the shut it down.
The shutting.
So anyways, who do you think, just before we get into this, do you think is going to win?
What did you say? I clicked on a thing and then...
Who do you think is going to win?
In the debate?
Or just in the primary?
In the primary, I'm really scared about Pete Buttjuice right now.
Really? You think he could win?
Yeah, because he's smart and he's gay, and it seems that there's a lot of financial backing behind him. I think that the media is going to turn against Biden, and I think Biden's going to go up on stage and be really old, and they're just going to be like, "You were a part of the Democratic Party when segregationists were still like in the party. You're a traitor to real progressivism," and stuff like that's going to happen. Like he's too old, both like physically in terms of like first of all, I think a lot of the problems with Trump that's going on might just be he's too old for the job, just period. Like I think he's just too old for being the president, and like he isn't capable of really doing I mean, to be a real president, he's probably like a no weekend 55-hour 60-hour a week job, right, where you work 12-hour days nonstop. I don't think Trump's doing that. I think he's delegating the power, and he has nobody he trusts, and they're just doing all kinds of just total chaos.
Also, I think more than just about any other president I can recall in history, absolutely everyone's trying to undermine him.
Yes, I think that they're the closest one in history we can think of would be like Carter or Ford when they were very weak presidents. But I mean, Trump goes to like Andrew Johnson levels of or is it Andrew Johnson that was after Lincoln?
You know what? That's the perfect example.
He's like Andrew. His whole presidency is basically like impounded from the get-go.
Because I think Andrew Johnson, I was thinking of doing a presidential tier list once that I was actually going to put him at like B or A. Because he tried to like, he was kind of like the it's the happening guy, because he was trying to stop the radicals from raping the South. And basically they tried to impeach him, and after that he just rubber stamped everything.
Yeah, well, he couldn't do anything. His whole presidency was basically compounded, and there's no way he could be reelected and so on.
Right. So, like,
or he could be elected to even begin with.
Like, with regards to Trump, I cut him a lot of slack, more than just about any other president, because literally I've never seen literally everybody try to make the president fail.
Dude, I literally think that, like, Kushner and Bolton went off into a room and tried to start a war with Iran, and then and then Trump like walked into the room and he's like, "You can't bomb other people without my support," and then it stopped.
Okay, sorry, I just want to read a comment. Trump is in the same position as Putin, being surrounded by corrupt oligarchs. The only difference is that Putin was able to cripple the oligarchs' power, and the people loved him, and Trump lacks the power to do so.
Well, first of all, Putin inherited Yeltsin's regime, which had absolutely no checks on power, and Yeltsin wrote his own constitution. It was a brand new state, and Yeltsin wrote the constitution himself, and he inherited power in a state of emergency and had like emergency powers during a civil war. So you can't really compare them. Like, Putin had infinitely more power when he came in than Trump did.
But like, literally the people who are around Trump that he appoints are actively trying to fuck him.
Yes. Like, I don't even know, like, why does a lot of people have said this, why doesn't he just like hire like people that can't even do the job, that aren't even qualified, that are just loyal? That would be better than hiring people that are like quote unquote qualified, but completely just backstab him constantly.
Like, a lot of Bush's appointees went off and pursued their own private agendas, but it was never anything like this. Like, literally every person Trump's appointed has like fucked him. Like, I've just never so that's why when a lot of people like attack Trump, I cut him a lot of slack, because I feel like he has actually delivered a lot, considering.
Here's the thing about Trump that I've seen from people from other countries.
Yeah.
Everybody I talk to that's from the United States feels pretty deeply disappointed or indifferent to Trump. Mm-hmm. When I talk to people from Europe or Canada, they seem to be like, "What are you complaining about?"
Right.
I don't know. I mean, when you get to like a European country, I guess the tax cuts are almost like unthinkable. In like a country like France, like a president cutting taxes is basically unthinkable, I've heard.
Well, Europe is weird because in some ways, like, Scandinavian countries are pretty free market. They just have high taxes and high social spending.
Mm-hmm.
I could see there being less regulation in some ways in
I don't know exactly. Here's the thing: is like a lot of his promises are kind of up in the air. So it's like, okay, well, the border's not going the way that we thought, but the tariffs are kind of up in the air. So we don't know what's going to happen with all that yet. And it seems like it's this ongoing thing that he's trying to use tariffs for foreign policy purposes. So it's like we don't know how that's going to end yet. And I don't know if anybody's talked about the cutting regulations so far.
Oh, has he done that?
No, I haven't even examined it. Nobody talks about it because that was one of his major campaign promises was to deregulate or to create new regulations which would cut down on bureaucracy.
Right.
Are you rolling Are you rolling a bunch of D6?
No, it's just a joke because Ralph did a guy did a stream and it was obvious that he had a bottle of Xanax on it that he kept taking because he was stoned. So I just had to do that joke. Yeah, that's I don't know. So what happened with the wall? Why didn't the wall get built?
Because he can't really build it. He can't build it because he can't get funds for it because the Congress just keeps blocking him. He can't build it without congressional aid, and if he tries to do it without congressional aid, then they'll just impeach him for it, basically.
So the Republicans blocked him too, right?
They never tried to get him a wall. They couldn't even get the Obamacare thing, which he didn't even really care about, and Trump cock blocked him when they had on paper the Senate, or almost had the Senate or whatever.
You mean McCain cock blocked them?
Yeah, McCain cock blocked ending Obamacare, let alone the wall. So he keeps saying he's going to. Did he declare the national emergency? So this week he said he was going to deport people for ICE, and then he chickened out. He's going to deport. He was going to send ICE in to the cities that, because you have to understand, in like California, the entire state almost, they send ICE into any city, and when ICE arrests people, the local jail just releases them, regardless of what they've done. Whether they're just an illegal immigrant that's been here for a decade, or if they're a fucking serial killer, ICE, the California government just releases them regardless of what they've done. So what he's gonna do this coming week is he said he was just going to march into all the sanctuary cities and just start arresting people, and then he chickened out on that. And the mainstream media has been saying that they're committing a Holocaust, or insinuating that it's equal to the Holocaust of taking children across the border and putting them in refugee camps while the parents wait to be deported.
Right. But so yeah, okay, so with the whole, we'll get into the actual lecture in a second. I haven't had you on in a while. So do you think the thing about Trump changing his mind 15 minutes before the missile strike for Iran is real? Or is that
no? In the video I made on it, my idea is basically that there was no missile strike, and that the missile strike and the changing their mind is basically a threat that thinks that, you know how Henry Kissinger told Nixon to pretend that he's incompetent in order to terrify the Vietnamese during the Paris Peace Accords? It's basically that. That's my opinion of it.
Okay, so rather than actually there being any real chance of starting a war, it was just a way to scare Iran without actually killing anybody?
That's my hot take.
Okay, that actually sounds pretty plausible to me.
That I don't know if I said that directly in the video or if I got across directly, but that's my opinion, that it was basically a bluff to make the United States seem unpredictable to Iran.
Right. So, sorry, who did you say you thought was going to win again?
In 2020, the election?
Butt cheeks, maybe?
Oh, butt juice? I'm scared that he's going to win. See, I don't know exactly what's going to happen. I'm also scared, Elizabeth Warren, because it seems like they're trying. it seems like what happened is before all the people entered the race, they're trying to get Kamala Harris to be the leader, and she's completely turned up. And now they're trying to get Elizabeth Warren and Pete Buttigieg to be the leaders. Because it's pretty apparent that Biden has all these, like, he just has this huge amount of name recognition, but most of the media doesn't like him because he's too conservative for them.
Also, he's going to get the Me Too to death.
Yeah, I mean, the media is going to point towards the Me Tooing for him, though.
Right. Also, Biden said a lot of politically incorrect shit in the past.
Oh, God. Do you know that he was one of the prime sponsors of the criminal justice bill that basically secured peace in the United States in the 1990s? He was the main author, and he said much worse things than super predators in terms of what the progressives want.
Right. So, like, to you or me, that would be like a great accomplishment.
Well, no, Biden in the 90s was to the extreme far right of Trump. He'd be further right than every Republican in Congress on crime. Like, he said that he wanted, like, the death penalty for everything for jaywalking. And he said that, he doesn't care about anything that's social. He only cares about crime and punishing it.
That's
like, he doesn't think, he said in the 90s that he didn't care about any of the so-called causes of poverty or racism or any of that bullshit. He said that he just cares about ending crime and making streets safe.
Mm-hmm. It's too bad. I guess that's just yeah. So I'm sure they'll dredge all that stuff up. So before we get any further, let's take a look at the electoral map. So let's just go state by state.
Well, do you think that Biden is going to do well?
I don't know if he doesn't.
Are you pulling the "I'm not American" card, or?
No, I actually don't know.
Okay. Basically, I don't think he's going to win the primary, but I don't know who's going to beat him. What I'm eyeing right now is it seems that the media wants either Elizabeth Warren or Pete Buttigieg. They at one point preferred Kamala Harris to Elizabeth Warren, but Kamala Harris apparently seems pretty... She's not a firebrand. I don't know.
Isn't she kind of dumb?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm not trying to pull a I'm not American. I just have no idea. I feel like Biden is really dominant, but he just doesn't seem like he just seems too old to be the candidate. And there's no clear like second place person at the moment.
I don't know. And as I said, I think Trump is too old, and I think that a lot of the failures of his administration are just him being too old. And I don't even know if Biden can like physically run for president, really. It'll just strain
Hillary
him really
almost
hard.
died.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start going through the states. What do you think for Florida?
Light blue.
You're thinking light blue? Didn't the
Florida's gone. Florida's gone. There's at least 100,000 new Democratic voters in Florida. Probably
didn't they just win a governor's race or something there?
Yeah, but it was razor thin, and then they felons can now vote, and there's like probably 100,000 Puerto Ricans that have moved there.
Although I don't think did they win by a whole percent or something?
No, I think it was less than 1%. It was like 0.5%.
I mean, when Trump.
Oh, here I can look.
Okay, in Florida, it was 49.6 to 49.2.
Yeah, I don't think that Trump can win Florida. I don't think Trump can win, first of all, against any Democrat. I think a Democrat will win regardless.
Okay, I'm going to do Georgia red. I don't really think...
I'm going to say Georgia light pink, maybe gray.
Really?
Yeah, because Atlanta. Because Atlanta is fast becoming one of the big... Atlanta is the Toronto of the South. I don't know if you know that.
No, I didn't know that.
So Atlanta's going to flip the entire state, and it's very spread out, and it's basically eating up all of Florida or Georgia and southern Florida and stuff.
Okay, South Carolina, I'm giving red. North Carolina,
Gray.
really? You're not even gonna say pink?
They went for Obama twice, dude.
Right. Virginia should be dark blue.
Yeah.
West Virginia is still dark red.
Extreme dark red. West Virginia, yeah, I think, is technically the whitest and the poorest state in the union.
Pennsylvania.
Gray.
I think Trump has a decent chance there.
Yeah. The thing is about the South, you have to realize is that they're deliberately targeting the South with new immigrants now.
I'd almost give Pennsylvania light red. I don't know.
Ohio's more light red than Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania was very close.
Obviously, New York. New Hampshire is not going to flip, is it?
Yeah, I would put it light. Well, here's what happened. Here's the thing is that if you're viewing this from, you have to understand who will the candidate be. If you have Biden, Biden's going to sweep the Midwest, I think. If you have some dead in the center Democrat. But if you have somebody like Kamala Harris, then Trump is going to keep the Midwest. If you have see, this is where butt juice is a problem, because if butt juice gets into it, then he's from the Midwest. Because he's from Indiana. So that kind of makes it scary there for butt juice.
A viewer's asking, since a super chat, thank you, Kyle Dawson, if Texas is Hispanic but the GOP takes every Midwest state, do they still lose? Yes.
Well, most of Texas, you have to understand is that the idea with Hispanics in Texas is that Texas has had Hispanics that are Anglo culturally, like Castizos and Mestizos that vote Republican for a very long amount of time prior to this, but they're getting so many people so fast that it doesn't.
Yeah, I thought the Tejanos were mostly Republican.
Yeah. So we'll see if I don't think they're going to be able to. The thing about Texas too is that they're flying. Like, I think the biggest population of Indians in the United States is in Texas. I would say Texas is more solidly red than Georgia because Atlanta is the Toronto of the South. But
I'm still going to give Texas pink.
Okay. You think it's really that close? I think Georgia is closer than Texas.
But. You know what? I honestly don't think it's realistic Texas is going to flip. I think the Ted Cruz thing was just him being unlikable.
Oh, I think Ted Cruz is really unlikable. And I think Beto O'Rourke from this Austin, like, white guy that, I don't know, fat Hispanic women must have got wet for or something. I don't know.
So New Hampshire, do you think blue or gray?
Light blue.
Wasn't it like 2% or something last time?
Yeah, but you have to. It's a small state.
I don't really understand how Maine works.
I would put Maine as like. So Maine has 2 seats, and whoever wins the state gets Maine has 2 seats, so it has 4 points. So there's a northern seat that gets its own electoral vote, and a southern seat, and it gets its own electoral vote. So I would put half of Maine light pink, half of Maine hard blue, and then Maine total like gray.
That's what they have it as the default.
Okay. Yeah, that's
I can't see
I think
Ohio.
it might be because the thing about Maine is what the Northeast is kind of weird because what's happening is really there's a lot of locusts coming from New York out there. So that a lot of the people in places like Maine and New Hampshire and even Vermont in Western Massachusetts, they're just like, they're rural people, and they're in the states, like urban populations just really colonized by New Yorkers. And what do they call massholes?
I'm not sure.
The Bostonians or massholes is what they call them in Vermont and New Hampshire and Maine.
I'm going to give Ohio medium red. I can't see it flipping.
Yeah, I would say Ohio is pretty secure. Ohio was like 8 points or something crazy for Trump in 2016.
I could see it being as good, if not better, because he did do a bunch of tariff stuff, or at least
I don't know how much that has helped though. Didn't they leak the internal polling and Trump is doing horrible against a generic ballot?
Yeah, but he was doing horrible last time, so.
Yeah, but that's an internal Trump poll. That's not
okay.
ABC or something.
Michigan.
Light blue.
Really? You don't think he has a
Oh,
chance?
of course, dude. It was so like it was skin of the teeth. They had to recount it multiple times.
Wisconsin.
Gray.
Okay. Iowa, I don't think is gonna flip. I'm gonna give Trump Iowa. Unless Butt Juice gets it. Let's see here.
New Hampshire's really weird. I would just keep Minnesota light blue. I would make Colorado hard blue.
Yeah.
I would make New Mexico hard blue.
I don't think Arizona's gonna flip this whole.
I put Arizona light pink.
Nevada, I'd almost say.
Nevada is gray. No, it's light pink or a light blue.
I'm gonna say gray because it was very close, if I recall.
Yeah, but you have to understand that the illegal immigrant. So what's happening right now is that there's so many NGOs. So how do I get to this? Basically, because Trump was anti-immigration, I sound like I'm fucking Alex Jones right now when I say this because I'm trying to explain it with really simple words without having specific names. Basically, the international globalists are having NGOs directly paying NGOs to have as many illegal immigrants from Central America and Southern Mexico enter the United States as possible. Which means that during the Trump administration, despite his rhetoric during the election, it is the greatest level and amount of illegal immigrants ever to cross the border. So that ICE has no ability to prevent them from entering, because at the same time when they stop it, the media says that they're building concentration camps to stop it. And that they deliberately, what's happening now is they're using children as body shields, and they say that they have no ability to detain children. So coyotes and the NGOs that work directly at the coyotes are actually having children. I don't know if they're abducting children or they're just paying, like they just have children. They're using children that are as body shields multiple times and reusing them to cross the border so that ICE won't arrest them. So, and at the same time, states like New York and California are giving illegals driver's license. And throughout California, you can vote 3 days after the election. Technically, in California, the laws are so liberal on voting, and that there's no ability. You can vote basically an infinite number of times in California, and the only thing that they do is they check if you have a driver's license. So obviously, a lot of illegal immigrants in the United States have fake driver's license, but now California and New York are directly giving illegals driver's license, their real driver's licenses, when the stated only way to check, the only legal way to check within the state is looking at somebody's driver's license. So that means that New York has effectively given all illegal immigrants the ability to vote.
Kyle Dawson sends another $2 and says, "How can you say Nevada is gray? We lost the Senate seat there."
You're saying it's gray. I'm saying it's light blue.
You think it's light blue? Okay.
Oh yeah, dude.
I'm trying to be.
I'm not
great. I'm trying to be purple pilled here.
I'm fucking dude. Like, he's not gonna win.
That's what we said last time.
I never said that. I said he was going to win over and over last time.
I don't know.
Here's the thing. Because he isn't able to do anything, so he can't stoke public interest. So he's going to have the voter turnout of Romney, And whoever goes against him is going to have massive NGOs just shoveling people from the ghetto and illegal immigrants to vote multiple times. And I think they're going to try and flip Arizona and Georgia blue, and I think Florida's lost. I think Pennsylvania is probably light blue too. And you made North Carolina, well, North Carolina should be gray.
North Carolina is gray.
Yeah. And you made New Hampshire gray, which should be light blue too.
So you think he has no path to victory?
I think it's like 15% chance of victory.
Right.
Basically, what would happen is you'd have to run Joe Biden. Trump would have to grow a spine and reveal Pizzagate to be real, and then Joe Biden would be indicated in Pizzagate. That's like the only way I can see him winning. I'm unironically saying this. Like, it has to be a Pizzagate tier scandal if Joe Biden is actually a pedophile and that there's provable proof and he doesn't shut up about it. Like, I think it's that tier.
Mm-hmm.
I think NGOs have been deliberately, and the major corporations are doing everything in their power to prevent him from being reelected. The bureaucracy and his own cabinet are completely working against him. And he's going to get challengers within the Republican primary itself. Doesn't he already have the guy? Isn't the guy that ran as a vice president for the Libertarians, isn't he already running against Trump?
I'm not sure. Let's see what the latest polls are. I don't think they're very good. But the polls
I
were
think
bad
in the
last
generic
time.
ballot, I think he loses against everybody right now. Yeah, Bill Weld is already a declared candidate against Trump. And Kasich is like publicly expressed interest, and Bob Corker is publicly expressed interest.
Oh, sorry. Kyle Dawson gives me another $2. Who the frack is this Jew doubting the power of the God Emperor?
How am I supposed to respond to that?
I don't know.
The God Emperor is Jewish, dude. The God Emperor allowed his daughter to marry a Jew.
Trump, he's up against in Rasmussen, which we all know is the most reliable set of polls, against Booker.
Yeah, but Booker's retarded, and he's a black guy that has blue eyes, isn't he, or something like that?
I don't know. Wow, butt juice would beat him.
Butt juice would crumple in like a paper cup. It would be
close. I don't know. It's pretty close.
Butt juice.
I love Rasmussen. I love how Rasmussen doesn't give a fuck. They just obviously rig it.
Didn't Rasmussen win though? Wasn't it the most accurate by far?
I think in that.
Look at Biden. It's plus 10 over Trump. Or no, that's primary, isn't it? Or no, it is plus 10 over Trump.
2016. Okay, this is not going to happen, but do you think the Republicans would have a chance if Trump stepped down and didn't run for re-election?
No, that would be even worse. That'd be the absolute worst move possible. That would mean they would lose every swing state.
Really?
Yes, that's the absolute worst thing possible.
Interesting. Okay, so most polls had Hillary up by about 3 points.
To be fair, though, if those are not state-specific polls, then they're actually accurate, though.
Yeah, then that would be accurate. Although, I don't know if McMuffin will run again.
No, it doesn't. Well, I don't know how much it matters if McMuffin runs.
I just wanted to say McMuffin.
That power, though.
The
McMuffin power.
The deep state. Literally the deep state. Tried to. So the only way Trump could win is if he wins Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and North Carolina.
Godspeed.
That's literally it. I don't know. I don't know. I think it's too early to count Trump out. Partially,
I think, well, first of all, Trump would have to win bigly, and he would have to regain his base. And what he keeps doing is he keeps saying he's going to do something, and then he doesn't. So that's worse than just not doing his promises. Cock teasing his promises makes people hate him. If he didn't have a Twitter, he would do so much better, but he cock teases his promises on Twitter.
Trump needs to get rid of his Twitter. His Twitter, and I've been critical of that since it started. I don't know if it's really helped him at all.
I think it's hindered him a lot, and it's really hurt his base because he'll say stuff on Twitter like he's going to have a presidential executive order, and he's going to get rid of birth amnesty, and then he's going to deport millions of illegals and stuff like this, and he's going to have a presidential investigation of Facebook and Twitter for censoring people and YouTube for censoring people. And he says all these things on his Twitter and then nothing happens. So it's like cock teasing.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, sorry. Speaking of clown world, I just looking at this polls. Is it time to embrace the man skirt?
Women will just grope you uncontrollably if you wear a skirt when you're a man.
Isn't that what men want, though?
Do you want fat women to squeeze your balls?
That's true. That's true. So I think what you're saying is what we need to do is just all go sign up for the Democratic Party and vote for Tulsi Gabbard in the primaries.
Is she the only one that loses?
No, I don't know. She's the least.
Oh, is that the Hawaiian one?
Yeah.
Yeah, but isn't she just she just says we need to be, isn't she just non-interventionist plus extreme dildo stuff socially? I think Yang's probably more technically better than her then.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Isn't she supposedly not white at all, but she looks like castiza?
I think she's kind of cute, to be honest.
No, but look up her ethnicity. Isn't she supposed to be a happer or something? But she doesn't look like an out. She looks like castiza. She looks incredibly white.
I think she's a quarter Hawaiian or something.
I don't know. Isn't she a practicing Buddhist or Hindu or some crazy
Hindu
shit?
or something?
It's just bizarre.
I don't know. As I've said, call me a traitor. I think she's kind of cute.
Okay,
but again, you're supposed to be the Nazbol here. So
what is that even supposed to mean?
I don't know. You're supposed to be the guy who just likes.
Her father is Samoan and white. Okay, so her father was a Samoan. So she apostatized from the Catholic Church to Hinduism.
Her mother is a German Hindu.
Okay.
So she's a Quappa.
Okay.
How fucking weird is that? Her father is a Samoan Catholic and her mother is a German Hindu.
Well, she was homeschooled. She was homeschooled, hippie homeschooled, it looks like.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's see here. I don't know. I just think it's so basically married? I don't know. So basically you're saying we're just kind of fucked?
Yeah, I don't know. Here's the thing is you have an incredibly positive view. Even though I probably do have depression though.
Well, I have severe depression.
Well, no, what I'm saying is the irony is I supposedly for a long time I don't have a mental illness and you have bipolar disorder. Mm-hmm. And my view of the future is doom and gloom, and your view of the future is it could work out. This is kind of ironic.
Yeah, no, I particularly this month because it's Pride Month in Toronto. I don't see any cracks in the global homo or any of it. I just think in Canada it's going to continue on indefinitely, and I don't think any of it's ever going to.
I don't know. It's in my life, I see like I see like 20-odd-year-olds committing suicide. Like everybody smokes pot all the time, drinks all the like everybody's an alcoholic or chronic pot smoker. Most people, like, there's like 4 people to like a trailer tier. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just like white trash. I don't know.
We come from very, very different environments.
Okay. I guess you're. I don't know. We'll dox ourselves, but
no, people know I'm from Toronto. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't hide that. But no, it's like there's no signs here whatsoever that it's going to stop anytime.
Yeah, but don't you say the infrastructure's horrible? I just don't understand why you feel like. I don't like Canada seems like Canada seems just like fucked to me. Like
no, because
at least on paper.
The immigrants just adopt social liberalism.
So can I talk about my predictions for what's going to happen politically in the United States as long as it stays up? Ahead. I think the Democratic Socialists of America are going to become a third party, even though it's a single district plurality, and the United States is going to be a 3-party system like Canada.
Oh, okay. Sorry, just before we get into that. Okay. I've got to do a video about this. What is with the fucking beta orbiting of what's her name? I don't even know.
The Puerto Rican girl?
Cortez?
Yeah, the Puerto Rican girl. I don't know because she's a single 29-year-old person that's in the news all the time. I don't know.
No, but it's like all the I don't know, like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I just find like on like the right-wing pages on Facebook, they just constantly post about it.
What podcast do you listen to? Do you listen to I listen to every week. I listen to the Jared Taylor's podcast.
I don't really listen to any of them.
Well, I listen to his, and Paul Kersey from Stuff Black People Don't Like is on there with him. And basically, like, Cortez does something new every week, and she's constantly in the news, and she's saying, like, all kinds of crazy shit. And she, like, live streams in, like, her, in, like, sweatpants and, like very casual attire, like why she makes like food in her microwave, about like how humanity's going to die of global warming.
Yeah, but like I just find these like right-wing pages just post about her constant, like all day, every day. Like they just do memes about this. Oh,
here's the thing. So it's like baby boomers are like, the millennials aren't buying Applebee's, so we're gonna lose Applebee's. So basically, she's a millennial that wants socialism. So the baby boomers go crazy, and then the thirsty betas like her because she's a 29-year-old single woman.
I think she looks really creepy.
They're deliberately choosing bad pictures of her on those. Okay. Because her teeth are very obviously. A lot of people say she has crazy eyes.
Yeah, she does.
Here's the thing about it. You can tell that she's very, very... Have you seen an interview with her?
No.
She's not very intelligent at all.
Right.
So she doesn't understand how global warming works, and she just says it's just going to be the end of the world. And she'll say, like, I'm trying to save stuff with my Green New Deal and shit like that. And she'll say, like... She'll say that, like, the evil white Israelis are hurting, like, Palestinians, and then she'll, like, say something. She'll realize she's being anti-Semitic, so she'll just say, I never said that within the same interview and stuff like that.
Right. Oh, Kyle Dawson, you're really sending a lot of stuff today. Why isn't anyone talking about the white race now being officially under 1 billion people on world population record?
Isn't the only East Asian country, Philippines isn't even East Asian. So every East Asian country and every European country, unless if you count Argentina, has a below replacement population rate. Do I think the white race will go extinct? As long as Russia remains a world power, no.
Well, keep in mind what the world population used to be like. Like it was like the world population used to
You
be
should
very,
look
very
up
low.
stuff before when they wrote.
Oh my
Like,
god, he is a soy boy. He's like the ultimate soy boy.
what are you talking about?
OAC's boyfriend.
Oh, she has a boyfriend.
Yeah, Riley Roberts. Holy fuck.
I always like how like redheads are super soy.
This guy is
Have you
like
noticed that about redheads?
he reminds
Redheaded
me a bit of
males.
Ralph. Holy shit. Okay, Charles Arce is gonna move to Cambodia and open up a gamer jungle compound.
So are we supposed to be addressing Kyle's super chat?
Yes.
Okay, so first of all, the concept of the white race is kind of an Anglosphere dysphoria, not dysphoria, not like fucking. I think that I have a vagina, but I have a penis stuff. No, dysphoria. How do you say that?
Diaspora.
Diaspora. So it's an Anglosphere diaspora thing, and Europeans don't really think of themselves as white. They think of themselves as Frenchmen or as Greek men or as Hungarian, Magyars, Finnish, and so on. But if we think of terms in the white race won't go extinct as long as Russia's a world power. And in terms of like, I personally believe industrial civilization will collapse and that we'll go to, we're going to go back to like and like, we'll have a level of, we're going to waste all our resources and then we're going to have a technology level of 1800 with like bolt action rifles that we make in our houses. But that's pretty much what I think the future is. But if Russia can maintain its borders against, say, if China falls apart in the warlords, Russia can exist until the very end of industrial civilization.
Well, let's keep in mind in the 1500s, there was only like 170 million white people.
Yes. Yeah, but in the 70s, what I'm also saying is like if you look at the map in the 70s, the non-white birth rate was worse, and worldwide, even black countries are rapidly declining in their birth rates.
Yeah, I'll bring up birth rate in a second because I think it's collapsed pretty much everywhere. Some have just collapsed slower.
You have to understand is even in like the most extreme right-wing government in the world, North Korea has a below replace. North Korea and Iran both have below replacement birth rates now.
But yeah, like even if we look at I don't know, like for most of even in the 1900s there was like only 500 million, no, less than that. Like 450 million white people or something. Like it's not like this is anything unprecedented. It's just kind of a turnaround, I suppose you could say.
Well, I only thought you thought of it in terms of we will never have space colonies, dude. We're not going to have space colonies.
Fuck you, we're gonna have space colonies.
There's no way we can't. We don't have enough energy to leave the fucking orbit with big enough stuff to establish space colonies. I mean, if we somehow, like, if the Chinese somehow, like, fucking created, like, designer humans and they had the designer humans build whatever they could with whatever resources are left, the best we get is Elysium, dude. An all Chinese, like, genetically engineered Elysium. That's the best thing I can see.
I think it would be Eurasian.
What do you think? Eurasian is like rich Chinese people like get white waifus or the reverse, or just race mixing all across.
It would just be like the Chinese just get a bunch of like blondes, and then they breed their super race. Let's see here. I'm just trying to find the
okay, somebody asked, Tangy asked, what if we had another World War III? Basically, I think that me and Argent already talked about nuclear weapons. I think that as the United States declines, the United States has a nuclear shield. So North Korea has nuclear weapons, but South Korea doesn't, and Japan doesn't and Taiwan doesn't. The thing is, Taiwan actually had a nuclear program, and it abandoned it because of the United States wanted it to. So if the United States declined, then Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan, they have an existential crisis where they need to develop nuclear weapons. So as the United States declines as a world power and becomes Brazil, by the way, I don't understand why people say the United States becoming Brazil is like the worst case scenario, because I think that's actually the best case scenario. But whatever. Anyway, yeah, I think that that's actually like good, and I'm not saying it's good because it's horrible for me. I'm saying that's good because the other case scenarios are like are obviously I'm saying nuclear war. So as the United States declines, more European nations such as Turkey is going to develop nuclear weapons, and South Korea is going to develop nuclear weapons. Japan's going to develop nuclear weapons. And as these states develop nuclear weapons, it will lead to mass proliferation. And if there's more and more states that have nuclear weapons, there's going to be more and more need, more and more ability for nuclear wars to happen between various other states. I mean, this year it was possible that India and Pakistan would have went to a war, right?
Mm-hmm.
As there's more and more places and states and conflicts where a nuclear war can break out, then the likelihood becomes more likely. And in fact, I think if a nuclear war actually occurred if India and Pakistan went and had a nuclear war, or North Korea and South Korea had a nuclear war against each other if the United States became Brazil, then I think more people would develop nuclear weapons after having seen it. Because what happens at that stage in a post-America world is that every country is for himself. And when you see nuclear wars, there's no reason to give up your own nuclear weapons. The only reason to give up any nuclear weapons is everybody gives them up together. Russia and the United States only gave up nuclear weapons because they're giving them up together. But when you have more and more states that have them, it's less and less possible for there to be an agreement. Basically, the United States and the Soviet Union, then Russian Federation, dismantling their nuclear weapons, and South Africa dismantling its nuclear weapons, and Taiwan abandoning its nuclear program, and all these things. This is just a massive fluke because the United States and the Soviet Union were basically the two hegemons. But as the world becomes more and more multipolar, and it's a nuclear world, the chances of there being a de-escalation isn't very likely, and there'll just be more and more proliferation of weapons of mass destruction.
Right. I think part of the issue, completely lost my train of thought there, but I'm just looking at this world fertility map. So most Muslim Middle Eastern countries are on the verge of being sub-replacement birth rate.
Well,
The
Iran is sub-replacement. What's really bizarre to me is that Central Asia actually has a very high birth rate, but Central Asia doesn't have Islamic laws, so they outlawed polygamy in Central Asia wholesale. But they have higher birth rates, I think, most of the Middle East, don't they?
Mongolia has like the highest birth rate of an East Asian country.
Yeah.
But like even India's birth rate has crashed.
Yeah, well, India's like India's approaching replacement.
I thought it was below replacement.
Oh, I think it's like 2.4, dude. Or 2.5. Okay.
So, I mean, the demographics are bad, but it's not as if like everybody else on Earth is not also rapidly falling.
Mm-hmm. The thing about the problem is that the United States immigration system is deliberately created to foster anchor babies so that other races will have higher birth rates than the native whites or heritage whites.
Right.
And the European countries are doing similar things.
Okay, so guess what country is the highest birth rate on Earth?
The one we can't say on chat.
Exactly. Yes. It also has the lowest literacy rate, I think. I
wonder if you did like do you have the statistical calculator? I wonder if we could just put in the numbers and see the correlation between literacy and birth rates.
Yeah. Let's see here. Let me just scroll through and see where India is. Okay, countries that are sub-population replacement. Turkey is on the border. I actually really don't want Turkey to go down. I don't know what it is about
Turkey's
Turkey.
white.
I just kind of like Turkey. Argentina's not quite there yet. Yeah, India's 2.3. India is rapidly decreasing.
Mm-hmm.
Even South Africa is almost at replacement.
I thought it was below replacement.
I have 2.5 here.
Okay.
Let's see here. Bangladesh is at replacement. Really? Bangladesh?
I'm not surprised, dude.
Sri Lanka, the Gulf states are all below. France is like the highest of a European country. I wonder why. Let's see here. Okay, so I think part of the issue is there won't be a new world order. Like people LARP that China will become the hegemon. I don't think China has any desire to run the world.
Here's the other
just
thing.
want money.
Do you think that China's stable enough?
That's a good question. I don't
because
think that's
part of the
really
thing is that like the United States was so powerful as a hegemon, and that if the United States declines, that it'll just cause chaos by necessity of its decline.
right. Yeah, Albania, Lebanon, Armenia has
If people know Iranian GF, why even live?
No, like Zoroastrian Iranian GF.
Iranian girls are best girls.
Well, you are Nazbol, and they're kind of Eurasian.
No, they're Aryan.
That's true. They are actually Aryan. And South Korea has the lowest birth fertility rate on Earth.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
Isn't North Korea like 1.9 or something?
Wow, Moldova's is that low? Why is Poland so low? That's what I never can understand.
Why? I always used to tell other people it had to do with like Soviet era housing.
Yeah, that's what I've.
But I mean, I don't know, dude. Why is Italy so low? I don't think Italy and Poland actually are that. I think Poland is probably just slightly more Catholic than Italy is. Italy's just chaotic. Like I think Italy and Poland aren't have the same amount of religiosity, to be honest.
I think when Salvini becomes Il Deuce, things will turn to silver.
Here, I'm really white-pilled because Italy is probably my favorite country of all time because Italo disco and Italian horror movies are literally lifeblood for me.
I think
I'm white-pilled about Slovenia. It's so fucking awesome.
I think Italy's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Like I don't think it'll even go through a collapse. I think the legal will come to. The Italian people really seem to be rallying to him.
Is there polling for that? Like,
yeah. Let me just bring it up.
I mean, didn't he win a majority during the election, during the European election?
Yeah. Okay. So the Liga got in the last election. They got. Let me just see what the Liga won last election. So they are currently polling at 36%. Keep in mind that Italy is not a two-party or a three-party. It's like a five-party system. So yeah, Liga is going to win a huge. And then the nationalist, the other nationalist party is at 7%, and then the center right is at 9%. Basically, the left in Italy is down to 23%. Okay. However, I don't know how you want to count five-star movement.
I don't know how to count it.
Nobody knows how to count it. Okay, so Liga Nord will, I think the Liga will double their percentage of the popular vote. Yeah, they'll more than double it. Last time they got 17%. This time they're going to get like 37%. Also, the national.
Well, no, isn't it? What's the actual like national conservative party? Is it Brothers of Italy?
Yeah, Brothers of Italy looked like.
Didn't Brothers of Italy have like 10? Can like Liga and Brothers of Italy just have a coalition by themselves at this point?
Next election, it looks like Liga is going to get 36, and Brothers of Italy is going to get 7. So
Okay, not that far, but
they're part of the center-right coalition along with Forza Italia. So they might actually win enough to have that. Berlusconi will probably back them. He'll probably agree to that. But yeah, I think what Liga needs to, I think they just need to drop the Nord from their name and just be the Liga. But yeah, I think they're going to be okay. I think Italy's going to be okay. I think Poland's going to be okay. Hungary's definitely be okay.
I don't know. I care a lot about France.
I do too.
I think the UK might be done though.
We all LARP about like it's happening and like the happening's going to happen. I think it's actually going to happen in France. Like, I think France is legitimately going to collapse. Well, it might have actually collapsed already. It's hard to tell.
Well, the thing about France too is it's like the political system in France is that like all the mainstream political parties have united into a coalition to prevent like the National Front from gaining power at this point.
Oh, okay. So here's a white pill. Over the last, I think since Viktor Orban came to power, Hungary's fertility rate has gone from 1.25 to 1.45. So it is, I know that's not huge, but it is actually going back.
Here's the thing. I have a question.
Yeah.
How much percent of like children being born are like in like these countries are people that are deliberately having bigger families if the birth rate's so low?
Holy shit, Russia's has shot up.
Yeah, Russia's. That's why I think Russia. Like, I don't want to sound like a Russia boo. Obviously, I had a channel called Nazbol Gang, but if you want to see the one nation that I think can survive and that is the future, it's actually Russia. I'm not kidding.
Well, because Russia 20 years ago.
Russia. I'm not even like mouthing. I actually think the Eurasian idea of the pivot of the world island. I actually think that's retarded, and I deeply disagree with. I think Russia actually is I think the U.S. has the strongest position, but Russia's stabilizing its population. It's gaining.
I think Russia's going to take another couple decades.
Well, it's technological, like its intelligence infrastructure and the ability to create. See, the United States can't build new things, right? The F-35 is a disaster. Russia's now building the most powerful missile. Russia's upgrading its missile systems, and the United States might not be able to develop nuclear weapons anymore.
Russia, I think, has to finish rolling over like all the old stuff from the Soviet Union and have their just have their population stabilized. But their fertility rate's gone from 1.1 to like 1.8 in the span of since Putin's been in power.
Yes. Yeah, and yeah, having the Russian Orthodox is slowly becoming the official state religion. Here's the thing about Russia too. A lot of people actually predicted the Soviet Union would collapse because of race war between Central Asians and Slavs. So in some ways, the Soviet Union collapsing was a good thing because now there aren't Central Asians that kind of leech off the Russians.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's still a lot of illegal immigrants in Moscow that are Central Asian, but again, they're Central Asian and they're like secular Muslims and they're really cute waifus. So I guess it could be worse.
Like the Yakuts?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Eurasian women. Sorry, not the Eurasian women. That is a good idea, but the Eurasian Union is probably a good way of dealing with it. The issue.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a European Union, but Russia's going to be bigger in terms of economy and population wise than everybody else there combined.
So here's the question. So people are wondering, what about when Putin dies?
Well, Menville. How do you say his name?
Medvedev?
He's already heir apparent. Like he already is like dual had power at the same time as Menvelev. And Menvelev's like 20 years younger, isn't he? Or is he just 10?
Just some people think he's just kind of like a puppet, but you think he's actually just going to take over?
Oh yeah, dude.
Seamless transition.
Well, Menvelev was like way more aggressive than Putin was when he was president.
Yeah.
Like he directly invaded Georgia.
Okay, so he's 53. So
and Putin, I guess Putin's only 10 years older, right?
Putin is, how old is he? I don't know actually.
I think he's 63.
He's 66.
Okay, so he's 13 years older.
Okay, so Medvedev probably has a good 15 years in office, and I'm sure if they can just keep finding successors, then then it'll keep going. Do you think Russia's politically just going to kind of continue on as?
I hope that they're. See, the thing is, when I read about the collapse of the Soviet Union, there's scholars that said Russia was a legitimate democracy. And it seems like as the deterioration between the United States and Russia has intensified, they've called Russia less and less a legitimate democracy over time. But
whatever that
I've seen people say that Putin and Mendeleev were both legitimately elected. There are like Russian scholars, like it's like Stephen Kurgan, the guy that does the Stalin's trilogy. He's writing the Stalin trilogy right now. He said that Putin was legitimately elected.
Well,
yeah, Stephen Kotkin, he said that it was a legitimate democracy, and I'm actually saying that actually makes Russia a lot more unstable. But
I mean, even if, because let's be honest, there probably is some form of election rigging.
Yeah, well, it's not like there isn't massive election rigging.
No, but I'm saying even if there was, if they held a completely fair election, I'm sure United Russia would still probably win.
Well, yeah,
in a landslide. But then again, you and I both like that sort of government where it's basically a one-party big tent.
It's a one-party state where they have legitimate outside criticism to alleviate discontent.
And to propose ideas.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, to propose ideas and to alleviate stress on the system.
Right. Oh, the coalition is called the All Russia People's Front. That's hilarious.
Is there Communist Party? Is that just independents that are in the coalition with United Russia?
I think so, or like some local parties.
Yeah, because the Communist Party and the Liberal Democrats aren't in. They're in opposition. They aren't in
the Liberal Democrats are a meme.
Well, the Liberal Democrats were created as a boogeyman by the Communist Party as the Soviet Union began to collapse.
To be like a fake opposition party.
Yeah, they were a fake opposition to terrify people by being too extreme, but then they just kind of continued on.
But then people kind of liked them.
Yeah.
So what do you think is going to happen with Ukraine? I know we're off Trump, but we can just.
Well, whatever. This is what happens most of the time, unless if we have like a pre-set out research thing. But
no, we covered the other stuff. So.
Ukraine's economy is fucked. Basically, the United States has to decline for there to be some kind of referendum on the East Dnieper or something joining. So I think it's going to be a frozen conflict.
Do you think maybe the whole thing will just be put off for 10 years when Russia's kind of recovered a bit and the U.S. has declined more?
Yeah.
And then Russia will be in a... Because I feel like Russia's still pretty weak at the moment, but maybe as time goes on, they'll start becoming relatively more powerful compared
to... I think that Europe just doesn't give a shit about Ukraine, really.
Anymore?
Yeah, I think that basically it's just going to be a frozen conflict, and then they're just going to give us more natural gas, and they'll give them more natural gas. I mean, let's say what would happen if there really is like some kind of like invasion of Iran or something? What do you think will happen? Like geopolitically?
I don't know.
I mean, I think 80% of East Asian energy comes out of the Strait of Hormuz, or at least oil. It's like insane.
Mm-hmm.
It's really crazy. Like, it would just destroy the global economy, like, unironically, dude.
Right, because there were some people who were defending the U.S. involvement in Yemen on those grounds.
The stable world economy
Mhm.
grounds. I don't know anything about Yemen, and I don't trust anything really. I haven't done my homework there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Let's see here. Oh, okay. Anyways, yeah, I suppose if that's probably a good place to stop.
Yep.
If you're okay with that.
Yeah. Do you want to watch the debates when they or is it you think it's just going to be too boring?
I might watch them on my own. I don't know if I'll have time that day, but I'll try to watch them at some point. We'll see if it's interesting enough to do a follow up on.
I don't know if I don't. We'll see how interesting it is because it's like 2 hours of my time to waste of like because last year during the Democratic debates it was so they're so like not aggressive. I don't know how to. They're like not very interesting.
Right.
And they don't talk. It's the thing about it is they don't talk about. They just like keep like saying that they're just gonna help like they're just gonna help like gay marriage and shit. Like they don't talk about the economy or foreign policy or anything. They don't talk about policy and they don't propose policy last year. I mean, of course, last year it was 2 people and now it's going to be like 1 million people. But it's just all like counter signaling and saying that I stand with the blacks and then I stand with the gays and I stand with the blacks more and I stand with the gays more. They don't actually talk about policy at all.
Right. Except for Andrew Yang. He's going to talk about policy.
He's going to fucking wreck. I like how he's in the second debate. Like, we'll see what happens with that.
Oh, is he not going to be in the first one?
No, he's in the second one. There's so many people. I think it's during the first debate, Bernie Sanders and Biden and Sanders, I think, are in both debates, and then everybody else is in one or the other.
Right. Okay. Well, I think that's good. Thank you very much for coming on, my friend. I'll have to have you on again sometime soon. It's just hard with just so people know, it's not that I don't want to have Serp on more. It's just our schedules make it difficult.
Hopefully, we'll fix that by the end of the summer, though.
Yep, we can hope. Anyways, God bless everybody. Have a good night. This is Argent. We must descend.